Let me ask you something. If the most powerful empire in the world collapsed tomorrow, would we even see it coming? Because that's exactly what happened to Rome. For centuries, it looked unstoppable. The strongest army, the richest cities, roads stretching across continents. People genuinely believed it would last forever. And then, it didn't. No massive explosion, no final heroic last stand. Just slow cracks, corruption, power struggles, economic collapse, and enemies waiting at the gates. Today, we're diving into how Rome really fell through the eyes of Edward Gibbon and why his answer still makes people uncomfortable. Because if he's right, Rome didn't fall because of barbarians. It fell because of itself. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're unpacking one of the biggest questions in history. How does something as massive as the Roman Empire actually collapse? And not in a dramatic Hollywood way, but slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. We're going to walk through the rise, the cracks, the chaos, and the final moment in 476 AD when the Western Roman Empire officially ended. But here's the twist. The real story isn't about one battle. It's about decline. And once you see the pattern, you can't unsee it. Before we talk about the fall, we need to understand what fell. At its height in the 2nd century AD, Rome was unstoppable. Under emperors like Trajan and Marcus Aurelius, Rome controlled millions of people across 3 continents. Trade was booming, roads connected everything, the army was disciplined and feared. If you were alive back then, you would assume Rome was permanent. And that belief, that confidence, that's what makes what happens next so shocking. Because the cracks didn't start on the battlefield, they started at the top. Here's the thing. Rome didn't have a stable system for choosing emperors. When a strong ruler died, everything became uncertain. After Marcus Aurelius, his son Commodus took power, and instead of a disciplined leader, Rome got chaos. Then comes the 3rd century. Over 20 emperors in about 50 years, most assassinated. Think about that. If leadership changes violently every couple of years, how stable can anything be? This is where Gibbon starts pointing inward. Rome wasn't collapsing from invasion yet. It was rotting politically. And while Rome fought itself, enemies were watching. Armies are expensive, and Rome needed huge ones. So what happens when money runs low? The government reduced the silver in coins. Inflation exploded. Trust in the economy dropped. Meanwhile, emperors like Diocletian tried to fix things by splitting the empire into East and West. Then Constantine the Great shifts the capital east to Constantinople and embraces Christianity. Gibbon believed this shift changed Roman priorities. Modern historians debate that, but what's undeniable is this. The western half was getting weaker, and it was about to be tested. In 376 AD, the Goths asked to enter Roman territory. They're fleeing a terrifying force, the Huns. Rome allows them in, but Roman officials mistreat them, and in 378 AD, at the Battle of Adrianople, the Goths crush a Roman army and kill Emperor Valens. That moment changes everything. Rome is no longer clearly dominant. Then, in 410 AD, under Alaric I, the city of Rome itself is sacked. For 800 years, that had never happened. The psychological damage was enormous. And the worst part? It wasn't the end. By the mid-450s, the Western Empire is barely functioning. Real power lies with military commanders. Finally, in 476 AD, a Germanic leader named Odoacer removes the last Western emperor, Romulus Augustulus. No epic final battle, just a crown taken from a teenage ruler. And just like that, the Western Roman Empire is gone. But here's where it gets interesting. The Eastern Roman Empire survives for another 1,000 years. So what really fell? According to Gibbon, it wasn't just territory, it was civic virtue, discipline, stability, unity. Rome didn't collapse in a day, it decayed.
And that's the uncomfortable part, because decay doesn't feel dramatic while it's happening. It feels normal. And maybe that's why we're still obsessed with Rome, because it forces a difficult question. Are great civilizations destroyed from the outside or weakened from within first? If you made it this far, I'd love to know your take. Do you agree with Gibbon, or do you think the barbarian invasions were the real cause? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy deep dives into history that feel more like stories than lectures, make sure you subscribe, because next time, we're diving into another empire that thought it would last forever, and it didn't.